Everyone is special in this world, in their very simple way or complicated way. But everyone is special. Everybody has experienced something that someone else can benefit from. So I'm just going to give you my story, and hopefully there's something behind it that someone can use to their benefit, that is. I have good things that I have done in my life, and I have bad things that I have done in my life. And I'm sure even the bad things are going to be something someone can use. Now, I'm going to do a serial of chapters, and I'm going to be talking about my life, all the things I have done. So let me start off by saying I was born in Caracas, Venezuela. My family decided to move when I was 6 years old. And my father sent my mother and his 4 kids to Naples, Italy, where they're from. Meanwhile, he went to New York to look for a better life. We didn't know it at the time because we were young, but my father and my mother were kind of separating from each other for the behavior that my father had towards my mother and the marriage and all that kind of stuff. The typical male stuff. Anyway, in Italy, we grew up hard, very hard. My mother had to go to work to support her kids. She had to defend her kids from everybody else, starting from their own family, her brothers, her sisters. There was a lot of uncles that we had that were nice people. Then, you're little, you're young, you don't know any better. But everything is about money. And everybody was always trying to put their hands in my mother's pocket because she was coming from America. In those days, South America, North America, Central America, it was all considered America. And if you came from America, you have money. But little did they know, my mother did not have any money. Whatever money she had was money she was able to save when she was in South America. Plus, she immediately got a job, started working, unlike a lot of people. Anyway, she made a good life for us for the 3 years that we were there. We were little, but we worked, believe it or not. I mean, I remember delivering bread, 6 years old, delivering bread. My older brother, he was a rider on a scooter helping to change gas bottles. My little sister, incredible. She was a cashier register in a little candy store. My older sister, she was cutting hair. And this is what we did for 3 years. In the summertime, we got summer jobs. In the wintertime, we got winter jobs. But we grew up hard, but happy. The time came after 3 years to leave Naples and go to New York City. We were happy. My father was able to arrange the trip, the visas, the permits, all of that stuff that you need to go from one country to another, unlike today. And when we got to New York, I remember we took a ship from Naples to New York. I think it was like a 7-day trip. And that in itself, it's a book to write, which I will. Not a book, a chapter. Oh, by the way, my name is Franco Aletto. I am a fourth-generation jeweler, and we'll get into that as well. Okay, so now we reached the port of New York, and my father was able to board. He had a friend of his down at the docks. In those days, things were a lot easier, unlike today. So anyway, we're happy. We reached New York. They take us to our home in Brooklyn, New York, Borough Park, 52nd Street and 14th Avenue. We were so happy. The next day, we went to school. We didn't waste any time. And fortunately for us, the school was right across the street directly across the street from the house. PS 103. I even remember my teacher, Mrs. Kaplan. Didn't speak a word of English, but I was happy just to be there with my family, my father, the house, all those wonderful things. By that time, I was already 9 years old. My father was working for this company on Canal Street, making $62 a week. Wow. And he was able to support a family of 4 kids, a wife, pay the apartment, pay all the bills, the food. Didn't have a car, but $62 a week. It was amazing. Not like today. You need everybody to go to work to try to pay the rent, never mind the food. Anyway, so now, as time goes by, my father got a break. He met this guy on 47th Street, Mr. Peister, wealthy man. He took a liking to my father. He loved Italy, he loved the Italians, and he gave my father an opportunity rent-free to move into one of his offices. I remember the office was full of boxes of trays, jewelry, equipment, all kinds of stuff. And my brother and I, we would go there on the weekends and kind of push things away, and we were able to set up my father's bench right by the window. And my father started working. Wow, it was great. He had his own little place, no rent, but he had to do certain jobs for Mr. Peister, which he didn't mind. Came easy to him. But my brother and I, after school, we would go take the B train and go and stay with my father until he finished, and sometimes 8, 9 o'clock at night. On 47th Street and Avenue of America, it was the train station, but they used to close at 7 o'clock at night. But we were there at about 8, 9 o'clock at night. So that means we had to walk from 47th Street and Avenue of America all the way to 42nd Street and Broadway to take the train. And sometimes it'd be raining, sometimes it'd be snowing, sometimes it'd be cold as hell, and sometimes it would be really, really hot. But aside from that, the streets were full of pimps, hookers. I'm talking about that late at night on 42nd Street. It was the capital of the world for the hookers and go-go dancers and the pimp mobiles and all that stuff that you see in the movies today. I don't even know if they still make those kind of movies. But it was a place where you didn't want to be as a 9-year-old, 10-year-old. Anyway, this went on for a while. Now, my father started making real money. He was able to buy a car, I remember, a Catalina, green. Wow. Well, it was a used car, of course. That Catalina was like a Cadillac for us. We would fight who was going to sit in the front. It was an amazing time. Beautiful. We would go to the beach. We would just go for riding. Sometimes we just sit inside the car in front of the building. It was amazing. We were happy. Didn't have a lot of money, but we were happy. Incredible. Then we graduated. My father started making money, and he bought a house in on West 9th Street and Avenue P. So we went from Borough Park to, I can't think of the name, hang on, I meant to block here. Well, anyway, I'll think about it later. So this is the beginning of my story. Now, when we moved into the new house, my mother got pregnant. No, I'm sorry. My mother got pregnant when we were on 52nd Street. She gave birth to Bob. This is one of the reasons why we had to move out and get a bigger place. So now we went from 4 kids to 5 kids. That's why we went to the new house on West 9th Street and Avenue P. And you know what? I still can't remember the name. But anyway, it's really not important. I'm not going to edit this video. It's got to be natural. The way it comes out, this is where I'm going to deal it. And we moved into the house. Everything was wonderful. Everybody had their bedrooms. Everybody had their spot. New kitchen, new living room, new dining room, new everything. Our own driveway. And my mother gets pregnant again to my little brother, Ali Boy. That became the biggest child of all the kids. The kid is tremendous. He's got shoulders twice the size of mine. Not that mine are big, but twice the size of mine. So now, of course, we are getting older, 13, 14, 15. And my sister's going to college. My brother's going to college. The little Bob and Ollie Boy, they're little. And I'm not going to college. I got into the martial arts very young. I was, as soon as we moved on West 9th Street, there was a karate school on Bay Parkway. And I had no friends in that neighborhood. I didn't know anybody. And I joined this karate school just to make friends. Not that I really like karate, I just wanted to make some friends, which I did. And my first friend was a kid named Tommy Patera. Light-headed hair, kind of blondish, funny haircut, a squeaky voice, but a hell of a nice guy. So he started taking me around the neighborhood, showing me the neighborhood. We became really, really close, very, very close. So I got into this karate because I wanted to just meet, other kids, which I did. But I really wasn't getting into it. I couldn't understand it. It wasn't natural to me. and I'm trying to make these moves, and it just wasn't happening. Couldn't concentrate. And there was this student, I remember, a black man, very nice, and he grabbed me on the side, and he used to call me Frankie, which I hate that name, Frankie. My name is Franco. And he said to me, he says, you're missing rhythm. This is your problem. And I'm looking at it. I was too young to understand what rhythm is. And he goes, think of a song and play it in your head. And when you're playing that song in your head, move your body to that music. That minute, I didn't really understand what he meant. But I did. I started doing this thing in my head. No, 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 that kind of stuff. And it came to me like magic. As soon as I was going on, la, 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 in my head, I started moving my body. It just snapped into me. I couldn't wait to get home because I was embarrassed to, it looked like I was dancing. I was embarrassed. I didn't like to dance. Little kids don't like to dance. Well, most of us anyway. So I go home, I go into my room, I put on the radio and start listening to the music, and my body started moving with the music. And then I started putting this karate techniques into this movement. Wow, it came to me like magic. Imagine that at one point in my martial art adventure, they started calling me the ballerina because that's how good I moved. It became natural to me. Became really, really good. Now, I went from not being interested in martial arts because I just wanted to make friends, and I wound up blown out of the sky. I became really, really, really good. I became a black belt by the time I was 16. By the time I was 17, I was really, really, really good. And things started happening. I started changing as a young man and became really good. No drugs. I didn't smoke. I didn't drink. None of that stuff. Unlike my brother. My brother was going to college, but he was coming home red eyes every day. He was getting, smoking pot, popping pills, drinking wine, the stuff that they used to do then. But he was going to college. Fucking guy barely knows how to read and write. He's going to college. I couldn't understand that. I couldn't understand that until one day I was so good and they wanted to start, because karate then wasn't really a big deal. It was a time of Bruce Lee. It wasn't real. It was not really a big thing. There was a few schools around uptown New York. I think maybe a couple of schools in Brooklyn. It wasn't really a big deal. Not like today. Oh my goodness. So they wanted to start a program in Brooklyn College, and the program was they were going to introduce martial arts, karate. And they approached me and said, "Would you be interested of being the instructor in Brooklyn College?" I looked at them, instructor. What do I have to do? He says, "Well, first you need to be." I was a high school dropout. Imagine that. As a matter of fact, it's not that I was a high school dropout. They threw me out of school. I remember they called my mother. My father was in Europe on one of his shenanigan business trips. They called my mother, and she had to come to school with my sister. And they told my mother, he says, "If we see your son on the school grounds, we'll have him arrested." Talk about dropping out. They threw me out. Anyway, no big deal. I couldn't care. So now going back to Brooklyn College, they offered me a position in the system as an instructor, being a high school, dropout, they were going to give me a full, diploma. I looked at them. I said, I don't understand. You're going to give me a high school diploma. You're going to give me a diploma for college. No, I'm not interested. And I walked away. Not interested. Thank you very much. They got somebody else. I know we never talked about it anymore. But it goes to show you, you talk about today. They do all kinds of shit. You got no idea what they were doing then, when nobody was looking. Today everybody's looking. You fought, and they know. So my sister graduated college, and my brother, I think he did 1 or 2 years, and then I guess they ran out of drugs in there, and he didn't go back. My brother, the genius, Alfredo Aletto. The guy should be ashamed of himself. But we'll get to him later. All right, oof. I got a mountain of shit for him. So, my father had bought my sister a car because she graduated college. Yeah, she was okay, but she gave me a lot of work. My sister gave me a lot of work throughout our life. I had to come to her rescue many times. She had bad choice in men. She always picked the worst. Anyway, we'll get to her too. We have a full chapter just for her. And so he buys her a car. He buys my brother a car. Meanwhile, all this, she's going to college. He's going to college. He's getting stoned every day. I remember my mother beating him up in our room with a broom. He used to get in bed with all his clothes, throw the sheets over him, make him believe he was sleeping. My mother would come in the room and beat the shit out of him. So, and he gets a car. I remember he got a Mustang, a 1967 Mustang convertible. I wish I had that car today. So I says to him, Dad, and I'm working. I'm going to work every day. Not that I did anything special, but I showed up. So I said, Dad, how about buying me a car? He says, no, you're not getting a car. I said, why are you not getting a car? You got Blanca a car, you got Fredo a car. Well, they went to school, you didn't. I said, well, I've been working with you. And not to mention, you don't even pay me. So anyway, he didn't want to get me a car. Now this was during the Vietnam War. It was really going off. I was 17 years old. I was just about to turn 18. And by law, I had to register, and they would have dragged my ass into the war, which didn't really bother me. But meanwhile, I'm still 17. I don't have to register yet, but I threatened him. If you don't buy me a car, I'm going to join the army. I'm going to go to Vietnam. He thought I was full of shit. He says, go ahead. I said, oh, yeah, go ahead. Okay, fine. I used to fight with him all the time. He used to test me all the time. So I talked about it with a friend of mine, Joey, and we were talking about it. And I remember that week we started, throwing things around about going to Vietnam. But he had something to do at the motor vehicle one particular day. He had a car. He was a year older than me. He had to get some plates or registration, something for his car. So he says, come on, we'll go down to Skimmerlin Street, the motor vehicle. I have something to do. And I says, okay, let's go. We should pal around together. When we get there was a recruiting officer right in front of the place. I said, oh, look, wow, let's go talk to this guy about, going to Vietnam. I said, all right, okay. We went, started talking to the guy. The guy immediately grabbed us, says, come on, we'll go down to the shipyard down in Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Yard. And that was the recruiting office over there. We had to take a test, which we did. We passed, and we were ready to sign. So at that moment, Joey and I, we looked at each other and says, you know what, let's think about this before we sign. I says, okay, fine. We told the guy, said, look, we want a couple of days to think about it. The guy says, okay, no problem. We'll be here. I says, okay, we leave. The same day, we turned around. Come on, let's go to the Japanese consulate. We'll go find out what it takes to get to Japan. And we did. We went there. We got all the information. And now we have a different mindset. We're going to Japan. So we go and talk to my karate teacher, Bob Tayani. And he was okay with the idea because he had been there a couple of times, and he was happy that one of his students was going to go over there, and he was able. It was serving everybody's purpose. My purpose, I was going. His purpose, because he was going to show off one of his students, which I was good. I was really good. You can't take that away. So he prepared me for the next couple of months, really working out hard because he didn't want me to embarrass him over there. So we said, okay, fine. The day comes that we got to go to Japan. It was we left at night. I remember the whole school came to the whole school, all the senior ranks came down to the airport to see us off, and we left. Between me and Joe, we had $500 in our pocket. And at that time, you could purchase a ticket, a one-way ticket. You weren't obligated to buy a round-trip ticket. So we did. We bought a one-way ticket. We had no intention of coming back. And if so, it was going to be a long time. And $500 in our pocket. I wasn't afraid, and he wasn't afraid either, because the whole thing was we were going into this karate school that if they accepted us, we knew this from the beginning, if they accepted us, they were going to put us up free. Room and board, just free. Nothing spectacular, but we didn't have to worry about hotels, where to sleep, or even a bowl of rice. So I was okay with that as well. I was very confident in myself. But that was it. You had to prove yourself. Because if you went there and they beat your ass, they put you back on the plane and send you home. So we go off. It was a long ride. We did New York, Anchorage, Alaska, from there Tokyo. When we got to Tokyo, it was at night as well. We had directions on a piece of paper where I had to go. Meanwhile, the school over there, they knew we were coming because Bob already had spoken to his sensei over there. So they were waiting for us. So we got there, we took a cab. He took us to the karate school. And lucky for us, there was a guy that spoke English. Broken English, but English nevertheless. Not that I speak perfect, but so now we go into the class as civilian clothes. We had our little bag with us, of course, a karate uniform in there, and immediately they didn't waste any time. Not a minute. He says, "You have your gi with you?" Yeah, put them on. Yeah, we put them on. I was a black belt, first degree, and Joey was a white belt. He wasn't really a karate guy. He just came along with for the ride because he came from a divorced mother and father. Not that he lived in the street, but almost. So to him, it didn't make a difference where he slept that night. Meanwhile, the karate teacher, right away, he sent for the elders, and about 5 of them came in civilian clothes. They sat down by the mat. They were all sitting there in their civilian clothes, and they are looking at this American kid, me. And automatically, they just wanted to test me. The main teacher asked me to get up, get in the middle of the mat. he wanted me to fight one of his students. I was okay with that. I was ready. He calls up a white belt. The white belt gets up, it gets in front of me. I look at the white belt, I look at the main teacher, and I look at the elders that were on my right side. And I kind of shook my head. I went like this. I pointed my finger. I didn't speak English. Japanese. I looked at the white belt and says, I don't want him. I want you. Just like that. International language, you know. And he thought he was going to embarrass me. I embarrassed him. I put him in a position in front of the elders and his class. Pretty much I was calling him out. So he accepted it. He had no choice. So he got in front of me. We bow. We bow to the elders. We looked at each other again. You blinked your eyes and it was over with him being on the ground. Right away they stopped it. That's it. Now we were supposed to meet my teacher's teacher, or I should say my sensei's sensei, Yamamoto. Gogen Yamamoto. Now this is a guy that we heard about throughout our whole time being in karate. And this guy to us was God. The best martial artist ever. That's what, they had told us and drilled it in our head. And we were going to meet him in person. But he wasn't there that night. He had left for some business. But one of his top students had instructions to take care of us, take him home, and then after that, to take him to his home. And that's what we did. First, we went to the student's home. We met his family, his kids. We had dinner there, and time came. He took us to Yamamoto's house. Well, I don't want to make this particular chapter any longer than what it is. I'm going to tell you all about it in my next chapter. If you made it this far, thank you very much. If you want to see more, you need to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and I promise you very soon you'll have my second chapter and more. Thank you very much.